I was born and raised in the northern part of India. I was raised in a family where volunteer work and engagement in the community were equally important. People would often just drop by our home for a surprise visit. The doorbell would ring, and before we would open the door, we was always guessing who it might be. Offering water to everyone who came to our home was my daily chore. Not to just guests of my family, but also the mailman, laundryman, trash pickup man, and other people who provided services to my family and our community. I remember going to the dairy farm in the morning with my father and getting fresh milk where people would milk the cows right in front of us. Going vegetable picking for carrots, radishes, and turmeric from the farm were also a part of my routine. Same as we go here for apple picking or strawberry picking. My parents always had a garden at our home, so I learned early on the importance of Ayurvedic herbs. I am the youngest in the family, and things were always very easily available to me. In other words, I can say my parents and older sisters spoiled me. They made important decisions on my behalf because I told them I would follow their lead. I was very happy with that arrangement. It felt safe and easy. My father had always said, before I retire, all my children should be married and settle down. After my older sister had married, it was my turn. My father and my older sister started looking for a groom for me. And soon after, I got married. This year, we are celebrating 29 years of marriage together. Family surrounded me all the time in India. Day-to-day responsibilities were shared by the family members, and I had a nanny to help with my children, and other help was always available for the household chores. I was living my best life. That all changed when I moved to the United States with my husband and 2 children in 2003. My kids were 1 and 6 years old at that time. It was a huge challenge for all of us, especially for me, since I had never been out of India before, and my first time on an aeroplane was flying to my new home in the US. My day-to-day life was very different in the US. I drove the car on the right side of the road instead of the left side. I constantly had to explain people that being vegetarian means only eating plant-based food. Not seafood was not a part of the vegetarian diet. I would have to convert money in my head from Indian currency to the US dollar every time I spent it, even a dollar or two. I did that at least for first whole year. When I would go to the kids' school activities or parent-teacher meetings, I always sat in the last row. I would try to avoid the long sentences conversations. We lived in Mississippi when we first moved to the United States, so the Southern American accent was quite different from the English accent I had been used to hearing in India. Weather Channel became my best friend. As I tried to learn how to understand the people in my new community, overall, life was very overwhelming. 2 years later, we moved to New Orleans with my family. A couple of weeks passed by, and we heard in the news that Hurricane Katrina is coming. We had to evacuate for months. When we came back to New Orleans, there was still no grocery stores were open, and the entire city was a disaster zone. I would stand in a line at a church for water, toiletries, and other basic items. It was a life-changing experience for the entire family. In 2016, we moved to Columbia when my husband took a job at Mizzou. Throughout all of these moves and changes, I have been blessed with good health and wealth in my life. So a few years ago, one of my family members asked me this question: "What do you do?" And my instant shallow thinking was to reply with a long list of things, like taking care of my family, cooking, cleaning, going to work, having parties on the weekends, cleaning the house on Sundays. So this was my routine for years. When I thought about that question again, I noticed that deep down in me, there was an emptiness, a hollowness. I realized that something was missing inside of me, and it needed to be changed. I have always had a passion for Ayurveda and Ayurvedic herbs. My family in India had always used them for our health, and I had passed that down to my family even after moving to the United States. Ayurvedic herbs was my first love, especially turmeric, ashwagandha, and brahmi. These are all the names of the Ayurvedic herbs. I realized that the time had come for me to share my knowledge and love about turmeric and other herbs with other people. I talked to my husband and children, and I told them that I wanted to start a turmeric business. We all slept with that thought, but I knew that this is what I wanted to do. My husband said the next day, "You must start a turmeric business. Since my research for the last 25 years is on inflammation, and I will help you with your product formulation, and you know, I have a green thumb. So I will help you with growing turmeric as well." My children said, "Mom, we will help you and support you." After listening to them, I went straight into it. Every Friday, they would help me with labeling the products, loading the cars. Then early on Saturday mornings, they would come to the farmer's market. They would unload the cars and set up the tent and tables. In addition, every Wednesday afternoon in the summer, my daughter would go to the farmer's market, set up the booth at the market, and make sales until I could arrive in the evening after work. My children gave up their Friday night hangouts with friends to support their mom's business. This is how I turned my backyard business into a thriving business. Standing here and sharing my story with all of you would not have been possible without the support and love of my family, friends, and my community. I am forever grateful. I live my life with this mantra: where attention goes, energy flows. I am very intentional about spending time in the nature, whether I'm working on my farm or just enjoying some quiet time outside with my family. Today is a very special day, April 13th. It's a huge festival in India called Vaisakhi. It is a festival of winter crop harvesting and the beginning of the harvest season. Today, we farmers pause to celebrate the beautiful crop and offer thanksgiving. In honor of this, I actually had my husband, who was recently back in India, buy the sari that I am wearing tonight. I had to hop on a FaceTime call with him at 3 a.m. while he was at a boutique to help pick it out. It was worth to wear this special outfit from my first home. Today, with gratitude in my heart, I am honored to celebrate Vaisakhi festival with all of you. Love you, Columbia. Namaste. Namaste.